So, most people don't realize how much of their lives are being driven by fear. And I'm not talking about the extreme kind, like not wanting to bungee jump or skydive or trekking alone at night. No, no. I'm talking more about the behind the scenes actor, something which is driving my day to day decisions, day to day interactions, and reactions. So, today, let's take off some time to introspect. Are my decisions, interactions, reactions being driven by clarity or by fear? And to do that, we have to be more cognizant of a few things. Number one, even though this definition of fear is usually dramatic, and we know those kind of fears: fear of public speaking, fear of heights, fear of water, fear of these things which we just mentioned, skydiving, bungee jumping, paragliding, all that stuff. But much more often, it's much more common to have fears which are so subtle in nature that we don't even recognize them as fears. And they are the ones which are driving how we react, how we respond to someone, how quickly we are annoyed or irritated. These fears are what become the masks which we are wearing in our day-to-day lives. Why is it important to know about these fears? Well, just as a concept, you can see that how I react in a moment, if that threat is tied to a fear, the reaction is biased. I'm not truly in the moment. I am simply taking up stuff, taking a fuel from a prior fear, from something which is no longer present, and which is preventing me from being at ease, which is preventing me from being genuine and authentic and open-hearted in my relationships, in my work, even in my hobbies and passions. Bottom line, it is preventing me from being as happy as I can. So while it's usually not comfortable to think of, oh, this thing was driven by my fear, because we have the stigma against fear. None of us can be fearful, seems the branding around the world. We all have to be strong and, street smart and taking advantage of other people, because fear means I am weak. It's not really so. Fear is just one more mental pattern. It is something which in the past there was some stimulus, there was something which happened, and that thing, that pattern we are carrying on. The imprint, the shadow of that instant is being carried on and is now driving us to be much more closed, much more contracted than we would like to be. So number one, today, whenever you get the time, whenever you feel this kind of a hesitation, you are talking to someone, you are having an interaction, you are having a uncomfortable or comfortable event in the day, just try to check what really is driving this hitch in my being fully open. But how do we do that? Well, as in all things, awareness comes before freedom. So we have to be able to cognize that, okay, something is driving this thing, and I truly intention to take this thread back to whatever is giving it the fuel. How does that happen? As always, it starts happening from finding a little bit of stillness, a little bit of pause in your life. Again, could be done by multiple ways. Of course, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, walking in the nature, all of these are good events. But anything, could be journaling, could be your game, could be your music. Whatever happens, I want to be less distracted in the present moment. Why? Because being less distracted and being in the present moment again and again tends to make my mind more subtle and more sensitive. And hence, whenever a new stimulus happens, whenever, let's say, you're going on the road and somebody's honking that horn behind you, before you react angrily, you get this gap. And it's this gap which turns that reaction into a response. The response could still be the same, but you're getting that degree of choice which is usually missing from our day-to-day lives. And it's important to not have this kind of a stigma with fear, because this word itself seems to carry this covering of being weak or not being good enough, or just not being worth it. As we said, fear is just another mental pattern. And the more you're able to relate with it from an open manner, the more easily you might be able to work with it. We're not trying to resist something forcefully, we're not trying to put something under the carpet. It's, as always, an open relationship with whatever pattern my mind is throwing up, and how can I be more at ease with it. So again, today, whenever you get the time, whenever you get this sort of an event which is, it's got some friction, it's got something which is preventing you from being as open as you can, just check, is it a reasonable fear? For example, jumping from the roof is a reasonable fear. You don't want to do that. But those reasonable fears are truly a minuscule portion of our day. Much more than those are unreasonable fears, which really make no sense in today's situation. And if that is happening, see if you can derive back to what fear is this, and if it doesn't make sense, can I be fully accepting of it and yet respond rather than reacting.